Clerk, please call the roll.
Griffin.
Here.
Bishop. Conwell. Gray. Hairston. Harsh. House. Jones. Casey. Kelly. Moorer. McCormack. Polensik. Santana. Slife. Spencer. Starr. You have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. Please rise for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, please dispense with the journal.
By Councilmember Polensik, that the reading of the minutes of the last meeting be dispensed with the journal approved, seconded by Councilmember Slife.
Thank you. We'll now go to public comment. I'd ask for all the council members to turn around and view all of the speakers as they speak. I'd ask all of the speakers to please watch your time. When it's yellow, that means it's time to wrap up. And when it hits red, that means that it is a hard stop, okay? First, we have Reverend Pamela M. Pinckney Butts from Ward 4. Her topic is leadership. She represents the People's Party, and yes, she is being paid by someone. Reverend Pinckney Butts.
Touch not mine anointed, and do my prophets no harm. That's still relevant today. I'm not here today for a request or having a question. I'm here today to initiate the recall of a couple of elected officials, starting with Mayor Justin M. Bibb, Prosecutor Michael C. O'Malley, Judge Kathleen Ann Satula, and Councilwoman Meredith Turner. They have a blatant disregard for the leadership not only of this council, they have not only a blatant disregard for the leadership of the city prosecutor, who is a female of color. Not only do they have a blatant disregard for our police system, our law enforcement, where they teach them to be vigilantes and gangsters instead of peace officers, but they have a very blatant disregard and a compromise for the lives of we women of color, our children, and our men who don't cheat on us, who don't cheat on us, who don't sell us out into the system. They're very arrogant. I notice there are some statistics that are present today that $1.92 billion is spent for sexually trafficking children in this country under their leadership. Recently, the president just traded 5 women for $6 billion or $1 million for access to our oil, as if our oil prices are not high enough, because women are still being traded as property in this country under their leadership. When I saw Michael C. O'Malley in the Justice Center, he told me, "I know you're being abused. I know all about you. I'm busy." I called his office. His secretary told me, "I don't have to talk to you," and hung the phone up. When I approached Mayor Bibb, he laughed at me and walks the other way after I voted for him. When I vote for you and you laugh me off, you have got to go. Not only that, but I noticed that in the leadership of this council, they are so arrogant and so pompous that they don't even show up for meetings, don't have accountability, and are very disrespectful to the leadership of this council, the city of Cleveland, and have not taken the time to look for missing and dead women's bodies in this city. Every federal election, a person who is not white is sacrificed and martyred in this country under their leadership and their affiliates. Every federal election. Time out for media making mass money off of we people in color during these federal elections. Mass incarceration, murder, and suicide. We don't want our law enforcement officers afraid of us, and we don't want to be afraid of them. Touch not mine anointed, and do my prophets no harm. It's time for Justin Bibb to be recalled, investigated, prosecuted along with Michael C. O'Malley,
Time.
Judge Kathleen Ann Satula, and Meredith Turner from Cuyahoga County Council.
Time. Thank you. Next, we have Randy Cunningham from Ward 11. He's here to talk about his opposition to Ohio Senate Bill 158. He is not representing anyone, and he's not being paid by anyone. And I want to acknowledge to all of the speakers, please do not impugn the character of anybody in this audience. So I'd really encourage everybody to keep your comments on topic, but we will be cutting mics for anyone that insults or impugns the character of any official in this body, whether it be the administration or council. Technical difficulties?
Yeah, it's not the battery.
I'll try to speak.
Do we have any other alternative way?
You want to give them one of theirs? Yeah.
See if one of the wireless can use for right now? Use that for right now.
Thank you.
Ready to go?
All right, thank you, Mr. Cunningham. You now have the floor.
I wish to comment on the campaign that has been launched against Issue 38, the People's Budget Proposal that is on the ballot for November. I especially want to comment on Senate Bill 158 that has been introduced by Republican Senator Jerry Serino last week that hopes to forbid any future measures such as Issue 38. Cleveland and many other cities have suffered for years from the tyranny of a supermajority that is constantly meddling in our decision-making. Home rule in Ohio is dead. Residents and local officials have seen their efforts to control guns, raise wages, to promote renewable energy, and to control the placement of fracking wells and pipelines overruled by the State House preemption. Every time it is invoked, local government becomes a little bit more irrelevant, a little more hemmed in by an out-of-control, corrupt, and arrogant State House. Mayor Bibb himself has spoken of the burden of attempting to govern while constantly looking over his shoulder to see if another preemption is coming his way. Unfortunately, there have been times in previous city administrations when City Hall has stooped to conquer a grassroots initiative that it does not like and has cooperated with the State House preemptors to squash an initiative. The most notorious example was the previous administration's defeat of the Yes on 15 campaign when it went down to Columbus to have the measure defeated by the Republican caucus with a preemption. It was not Cleveland City Hall's finest hour, and the voters remembered, and that is why we have Mayor Bibb and not Mayor Kelly sitting in these chambers tonight. What do I want? I want the administration and the City Council to make it clear to Senator Serino with a public statement and testimony at the State House that they do not favor SB 158 and issue 38's approval or disapproval will be up to the people of Cleveland, not a Republican caucus that has never given a damn about us. Whoever wins will win the old-fashioned way, with campaign shoe leather and not State House chicanery. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Roger Carney, and Mr. Carney is from Lyndhurst. He is here to talk about emergency declaration and loss of a valuable employee. He is not representing anyone and not being paid by anyone. Mr. Carney.
Good evening, everyone. I come before you tonight to say thank you. I lead a team of incredible people who've done over $16 million of senior home repairs since 2019 throughout Cuyahoga County, and 90% of that is in the city of Cleveland. Earlier years were tough, and I've been around for over 20. The kindness and investments of council members like Frank Jackson, Zach Reed, Merle Gordon, and Terrell Pruitt were so important to be able to keep our doors open. Kevin Conwell used to run from me, and now he has me on speed dial. We've come a long way since then. Thank you, City Council, Economic Development, Mary McNamara and her team in Aging, and God has lavished us with blessings. That's what he does. But there's one person who's been my mentor for those 20 plus years who taught me everything I know about the feared enemy called Community Development Block Grant. She entrusted me with CDBG dollars and taught me how to use them for small repairs. Maybe the most important thing I learned by staying close to her, though not from her lips, was that I needed to find other funding that didn't come from HUD. So through funding through the Mayor's Neighborhood Transformation Initiative and the Age-Friendly Home Investment Program, we've been found desirable in the eyes of several other funders too. Meanwhile, back at City Hall, my mentor had her hands tied by HUD regulations for larger renovations and wore the concrete shoes of city policies and procedures. Then she was asked to run like the wind. Contractors struggled with the procedural and payment issues and then turned to other work, leaving a tiny contractor pool. She's never gotten you in trouble, but the not surprising results, at least to me, have disappointed many of my friends in this room. Sometimes the disappointment has led to some very unkind remarks she personally didn't deserve. Mayor Bibb, my dear mentor and encourager, is leaving her employment after 20 years in 2 days. With all due respect to everyone in the room, because I love and pray for so many of you, Louise Jackson, the Commissioner of Neighborhood Services and Community Development, is the finest public servant I've ever known. Her influence has made me a better person. Her encouragement has been priceless. Our collaborations have led to some outcomes I treasure. She's carried the torch of the right way is the only way. She leads with love, fairness, kindness, and calmness. Everyone who works for her, including me, knows we play the game by the rules. We must be green, we don't want to be yellow, and we can't be red. Many of God's miracles use ordinary people who do ordinary things with an extraordinary amount of love. That is Louise Jackson, and she's my hero. The outcomes my team has completed and the success we have and will enjoy wouldn't have been possible without her. I will always be grateful to her. I hope you all got to know her. Please make time to thank her. You've asked her to do a really nearly impossible job, and no one could have done a better job than she. Please run a cannon and give her the 21-gun salute she deserves, but please don't try and use block grant funding to pay for it. That would be too much for a HUD nerd to take. Thank you so much. God bless you and good night.
Thank you, Mr. Carney. And yes, Commissioner Jackson will be missed. I'm not sure if everybody knew that she would be leaving, but she will be missed. Thank you. And we are in the process of drawing up a resolution and going to recognize her. So thank you so much. Next up is Joe Schwarten, Ward 5, Week Without Driving, Clevelanders for Public Transit, and he is not being paid by anyone. Joe Schwarten.
Hello, everyone. I said I'm Joe Schwarten. I'm here with Clevelanders for Public Transit, and I'm here to challenge everyone here to take a week without driving. Now, this is an initiative that was started by the Disability Rights in Washington, and for those who can drive, you might not know what it's like to, go throughout your whole work week, having to walk, having to bike, having to roll down the street. So this is for the challenge for you to see what it's like to do that. For 25% of Cleveland residents do not have access to a car. So we must, as leaders here, know what it is like firsthand to see what these people and what all of us go through, including myself. Now, this challenge is simple in that just no driving, either bike, walk, or take public transit. This is a challenge just to see what it is. We talk about our infrastructure and meeting our climate goals, but this is all part of it. If we want to ever reach any of these things, such as our 15-minute cities, we need to see where we are at as a city in the process of doing these things and where we are at now, where we can see what can we do better, where are we doing things right, what in the future can we change to make our city a better place, not only for climate goals, but for everyone in the city, whether they're disabled or able to walk 20 miles in a day. So please, I am calling for every single one of you in this chamber, try and do this starting next week, October 2nd. See what it's like. Also, it's looking to be a pretty nice week next week, so hopefully that'll encourage you to all go ahead and try that. Thank you for your time. Have a good night.
Thank you. Next, we have Chris Martin. He's from Ward 3. He's here to talk about matters of public concern, and he is not representing anyone, and he is not being paid by anyone.
Good evening, legislators. Since the council president believes it is important to notify the public whether a public commenter is being paid to speak or not, I feel it is important to remind all of you that you are being paid by the taxpayers of the city of Cleveland to be here. Now, can I get a show of hands from those who are fans of home rule? Okay. Did any of you submit written testimony against Senate Bill 158? Will any of you be in Columbus tomorrow to speak against it? No. In 2022, Councilor Joe Jones accepted $2,500 from the Council Leadership Fund. Councilor Kevin Bishop accepted $3,000 from the Council Leadership Fund. Councilor Carrie McCormick accepted $1,500 from the Council Leadership Fund. Councilor Deborah Gray accepted $3,000 from the Council Leadership Fund. Councilor Richard Starr accepted $3,000 from the Council Leadership Fund. Councilor Stephanie House, I am not impugning the character of any councilor. I am simply stating the fact of who has accepted money from the Council Leadership Fund.
We are going to remove you from the mic if you mention one more council member's name.
How am I impugning any character?
Please proceed, sir, without mentioning any council person's name. Thank you.
I will proceed without impugning the character of any councilor. Councilor Stephanie House accepted $3,000 from the Council Leadership Fund. Councilor Michael Polensik accepted $1,000 from the Council Leadership Fund.
Please remove him from the mic. He is violating any rules. Sir, please cut his mic. He is violating the rules of order, and if you're going to speak, you have to follow the rules. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Please cut his mic, and please excuse yourself. Thank you. The rules of order is that you are not supposed to invoke any names, and I actually and told everybody that earlier, sir. So if you could please remove yourself, sir. Thank you, 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 sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. All right. Next person we have is Mariah Crenshaw. She is from Ward 4. She is here to talk about Cleveland's charter, and she is representing Chasing Justice, LLC, and she is not being paid by anyone for public comment.
Good evening, everyone. No reverend this evening, Blaine? Okay. Good evening, Council. I appreciate being able to come here and speak to you this evening. Some of you got my email this morning from Chasing Justice. Only 2 council members did not receive it. I will not mention who they are because I don't want to be stopped. But I wanted to address something that came to my attention. Many of you that do know me know that I am a watchdog, and I believe in my civic duty to hold appointed and elected officials accountable. Right now, we are working on a very big statewide issue concerning police officers not taking their training. And the Republicans have been very receptive, and they have been doing a lot of reforming legislations to fix some of the issues that have been brought to their attention by and through the research that has been done by myself and who I like to refer to as Team Justice. Well, also, we work with the coalitions for the jail reform and for bail reform and things like that. Well, recently it came to our attention that the Board of Elections has been allowing people who are running for our county seats, our county judge seats, and the Cleveland Municipal Court seats to turn in 50 signatures, which is a violation of the revised code. And it was very disappointing for me when the law director wrote an opinion, which was a very flawed legal opinion. And yes, I can say that because I went to law school and I'm the daughter of a very famous attorney. And so I want you to know that I'm very disappointed that he became an ally with the Board of Elections and the candidates who have clearly violated the statutes. I sent each one of you an email this morning with the reply brief that I submitted to the Ohio Supreme Court in an effort to stop some of these people at the gate from getting onto the judicial seats. They don't live here, they have no vested interest here, and I refer to them as political carpetbaggers. To make this in short, because I'm running out of time, I implore you to change the city charter to be more specific so that it become uniform with the state statute, which says that anyone who runs in the Cleveland Municipal Courts, as for the judge seats especially, that they obtain 1% of the total electors' signatures from the last governor's race. In this particular instance, the people who are going to currently be on our ballot, that are going to sit on our judge seats, only turned in 50 signatures when they were required by law to turn in 4,932 signatures. This is a concern. We need specific language to be more uniform in our charter, and I implore you to put that together. You have my email, you have my phone number. Please contact me. I would love to have conversations with each and pretty much every one of you concerning this, but it needs to be done. And I would like to know if the council is going to address this issue or if I'm going to have to hit the streets with the rest of Team Justice and get a referendum to change our charter. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Crenshaw. Thank you, time. All right, next is Deshauna Morgan. Deshauna Morgan is with she is from Euclid. She's here to talk about legislative for equal rights, not judicial. She represents the logistics code, and she is being paid for to do public comment.
Hello, everyone. Go Browns. I was always taught as an entrepreneur to mention something that's enlightening. If you want to know what faith is, it's the Cleveland Browns fans, whether or not they have faith in God. They put on those uniforms. But when it comes to equality and judicial rights, we have to know it first starts in the legislative branch. How many of us know what the legislative branch is? Just by a quick show of hands. None? I know that okay, there's one, there's two, there's three, okay. When it comes to equal rights, past time, past tense, this is not about equilibrium. Everyone knows what equilibrium means. This is the section point of where expense of your revenue meets the expense of demand, supply and demand. That means money. There have been some supportive people on this chair board. Thank you so much. Jesuit High School of Technology is now in the works for Cleveland to know and to see. We have gathered many people, a board of executives. While there are some of you replicating old presidency, I am hoping that you come out of it. I'm not only hoping that because you didn't desire to sit down and meet with a billionaire like me, that you will not only be held accountable for going and standing with the LGBT community or ABC, whatever it is, and then you go and you sit in these chairs and then you want to be a Christian on TV, but God knows your heart. And that's the only way that I could put it in the most professional mannerism with the simplicity of Christianity. But other than that, I want you guys to know that the big guns are coming out when it comes to the legislative branch. And some of you may be offended in your chairs, but the truth is that the United States of America is one nation under God. That's why we all stand. That's why we all say the Pledge of Allegiance, because we get into this ordinance of what it originates from. Judaism is actually not a religion, it's a heresy. They did not go
If we
into
could,
a place...
ma'am, we got to cut you off.
Okay.
We cannot keep on using this public forum to insult different constituencies. Please, everyone, we cannot do that. Thank you. All right, thank you. That is the last public comment. Once again, if we could, we're going to have to reinstate the rules with everyone because we are not going to allow this platform to be utilized for people to insult and impugn the character of individuals in this body, nor are we going to allow people to continue to impugn race and gender and sexual orientation or anything else. So those things will swiftly be eliminated. Can we please make sure we reiterate the rules with the speakers before they take the microphones? Thank you. Communications.
File number 1123-2023 from Mark E. Whipkey, Chief of Asset Management, CHN Housing Partners. Notice of intent to apply to Ohio Housing Finance Agency for multifamily funding programs for the development known as Hope Homes 1 at scattered sites in Cleveland. From the Ohio Division of Liquor Control, file number 1035-2023, regarding a new license application at 9305 Miles Avenue, Ward 1. File number 1078-2023, regarding a new license application at 6105 Memphis Avenue, Ward 13. File number 1079-2023, regarding a transfer of ownership application at 14606 Puritas Avenue, Ward 16. Approval of mayor's appointments. Oh, I'm sorry, you have to announce that.
All right. Appointments.
Approval of mayor's appointments. File number 1115-2023 from Councilman Joseph T. Jones, Chair of Mayor's Appointments Committee of Cleveland City Council, recommending the reappointment of Peter Witt to the Community Relations Board, term ending March 31st, 2025. Without objection, the appointment is approved. File number 1116-2023 from Councilmember Joseph T. Jones, Chair of Mayor's Appointments Committee of Cleveland City Council, recommending the reappointment of Stephanie Morrison Herbick to the Community Relations Board, term ending March 31st, 2026. Without objection, the appointment is approved. File number 1117-2023 from Councilmember Joseph T. Jones, Chair of Mayor's Appointments Committee of Cleveland City Council, recommending the reappointment of Waverly Willis to the Community Relations Board, term ending March 31st, 2026. Without objection, the appointment is approved. File number 1118-2023 from Councilmember Joseph T. Jones, Chair of Mayor's Appointments Committee of Cleveland City Council, recommending the reappointment of Gia Hoa Ryan to the Community Relations Board, term ending March 31st, 2026. Without objection, the appointment is approved. File number 1119-2023 from Councilmember Joseph T. Jones, Chair of Mayor's Appointments Committee of Cleveland City Council, recommending the reappointment of John O. Horton, Jr. to the Community Relations Board, term ending March 31st, 2027. Without objection, the appointment is approved. File number 1120-2023 from Councilmember Joseph T. Jones, Chair of Mayor's Appointments Committee of Cleveland City Council, recommending the reappointment of Daniel McNay to the Community Relations Board, term ending March 31st, 2027. Without objection, the appointment is approved.
Condolence resolutions.
Resolutions of condolence by Councilmember Hairston for Barbara Cynthia Eddie Key, by Councilmember McCormack for Howard P. Frank, by Councilmember Polensek for Charles Leotos.
Are there any other condolence resolutions? Will all council members rise for a moment of silence? Thank you. Congratulatory resolutions.
Resolutions of congratulations by council members Bishop, Griffin, and Starr for Chris Alvarado. By Councilmember McCormack for Melanie Hogan. By Councilmember Starr for Beta Lambda Omega Chapter of Iota Phi Theta Fraternity. Resolutions of recognition by Councilmember Conwell for John Horton Jr., by Councilmember Hairston for Superintendent Walter J. Clark Sr., by Councilmember Polensek for Basil M. Russo, by Councilmember Polensek for Petiti Garden Center, by Councilmember Polensek for Franco Madama, by Councilmember Polensek for Frank Pochi, by Councilmember Polensek for Lisa Amato Reed, by Councilmember Polensek for Mary Ferrante.
I don't believe we have any presentations, so we'll move the first reading emergency ordinance. Do you have any presentations?
Council President has added to those as well. That's for the Italian designees.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
noted.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, thank you. First reading emergency ordinances referred for administrative review and committee review.
Ordinance 1080, 2023 by Council Members Casey, Bishop, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Capital Projects to enter into one or more agreements with the City of Lakewood regarding the public improvement of resurfacing Lakewood Heights Boulevard to, among other things, allow Lakewood to make public improvements in the City of Cleveland on Lakewood Heights Boulevard between Jocelyn Road and Berea Road, and to cause payment to the City of Lakewood for the city's portion of the improvement. Ordinance 1081, 2023 by Council Members Gray, Bishop, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Capital Projects to enter into an agreement or agreements with Cuyahoga Metropolitan Housing Authority regarding the public improvement of constructing infrastructure improvements as part of the Woodhill Choice Estate project to, among other things, allow CMHA to make the public improvement to Woodhill Choice Estates, to apply for and accept any gifts or grants for the purpose of this purpose from any public or private entity, authorizing any relative agreements, and to cause payment to CMHA for the city's portion of the improvement. Ordinance 1082, 2023 by Council Members Bishop, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Capital Projects to apply to the District 1 Public Works Integrating Committee for the state funding for constructing improvements to portions of State Route 283 and St. Clair Avenue, to apply for and accept any gifts or grants for this purpose from any public or private entity, authorizing professional services agreements and agreements with public and private entities and any relative agreements, and authorizing the Commissioner of Purchases and Supplies to acquire, accept, and record for right-of-way purposes any real property and easements necessary to make the improvement. Ordinance 1083, 2023 by Council Members Moorer, Bishop, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Works to apply for and accept a grant from the Ohio Department of Natural Resources for the Calgary Park Renovation Project Program. Ordinance 1084, 2023 by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Finance on behalf of Cleveland Municipal Court to apply for and accept a grant from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration for the Recovery Project 5 to expand evidence-based treatment for specialized dockets defendants, and authorizing the Director to enter into one or more contracts with various agencies, entities, or individuals to implement the grant. Ordinance 1085, 2023 by Council Members Casey, Slife, Bishop, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request, giving consent of the City of Cleveland to Cuyahoga County for the resurfacing of West 140th Street from Puritas Avenue to Lakewood Heights Boulevard, authorizing the Director of Capital Projects to enter into agreements to apply for and accept an allocation of county motor vehicle license tax funds, to apply for and accept any gifts or grants from any public or private entity, and to cause payment to the county for the city's share of the improvement. Ordinance 1086, 2023 by Council Members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the general fund to receive and use revenue from tax remittances collected by Cleveland Public Power during the years 2024 and 25, and transfer 100% of tax remittances collected in both years back to Cleveland Public Power. Ordinance 1087, 2023, by Council Members Starr, Bishop, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request to vacate all of East 59th Street from Central Avenue to Hawthorne Avenue and a portion of Hawthorne Court from East 59th Street to parcel number 118-19030. Ordinance 1088, 2023, by Council Members McCormack, Bishop, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request, giving consent of the City of Cleveland to the Director of Transportation of the State of Ohio to demolish and remove the Eagle Avenue lift bridge over the Cuyahoga River in the City of Cleveland, authorizing agreements and causing payment to the state for the city's share of the improvement. Ordinance 1089, 2023, by Council Members McCormack, Bishop, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request, giving consent of the City of Cleveland to the Director of Transportation of the State of Ohio to resurface Quigley Road from West 3rd Street in the City of Cleveland, authorizing agreements and causing payment to the state for the city's share of the improvement. Ordinance 1090, 2023, by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Capital Projects to employ one or more professional consultants and testing firms to perform various construction activities and design projects for roads, bridges, and city facilities for a period up to 2 years. Ordinance 1091, 2023, by Council Members McCormack, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Economic Development to enter into a tax increment financing agreement with Apartment 92, the Apollo LLC or its designee, to assist with the financing of the Apollo Mixed Use Development Project to be located at 1250 Riverbed Street, to provide for payments to the Cleveland Metropolitan School District, and to declare certain improvements to real property to be a public purpose. Ordinance 1092, 2023, by Mayor Bibb, to amend Section 17128 of the codified ordinances relating to vacation leave. Ordinance 1093, 2023, by Council Members McCormack, Hairston, and Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Directors of Public Works and Community Development to enter into one or more lease and/or management agreements with Cleveland Public Market Corporation and Ohio Nonprofit Corporation to lease the West Side Market parking lot, and the Hicks parking lot, and to provide professional services to manage, operate, and improve these properties and assist with capital improvement fundraising and funding from available tax credits for the improvement of the West Side Market, authorizing other agreements, authorizing the Director of Public Works to apply for and accept any gifts, grants, or services from any public or private entity, and to amend Sections 131, 21, 22, and 78, and repeal Chapter 553 of the codified ordinances as amended by various ordinances relating to the West Side Market. Ordinance 1122, 2023, by Council Members McCormack and Hairston, to supplement the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio by amending Section 329.01 as amended related to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
First reading emergency ordinances to be passed.
Ordinance 1100, 2023, by Councilmember Spencer, to amend Section 1 of Ordinance 826, 2023, relating to a First Amendment to agreement with Northwest Neighborhood CDC for Cleveland City Council. Ordinance 1121, 2023, by Councilmember Griffin, to amend Section 1 of Ordinance 1034, 2023, relating to a First Amendment to agreement with iVideo for Cleveland City Council.
Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Polensek, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember Slife.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 15 yeas.
Call the roll on passage.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 15 yeas.
First reading emergency resolutions to be adopted.
Resolution 1094, 2023 by Councilmember House, objecting to a new C1 liquor permit at 7415 Superior Avenue. Resolution 1095, 2023 by Councilmember Casey, objecting to a new C1 liquor permit at 14037 Puritas Avenue. Resolution 1096, 2023 by Councilmember Casey, objecting to the transfer of ownership of a C1, C2 liquor permit to 14606 Puritas Avenue. Resolution 1097, 2023 by Councilmember Polensek, objecting to the transfer of ownership of a C1, C2 liquor permit to 15518 St. Clair Avenue. Resolution 1098, 2023 by Councilmember Santana, withdrawing objection to the renewal of a C2, C2X liquor permit at 3022 West 25th Street and repealing Resolution 895, 2023, objecting to said renewal. Resolution 1099, 2023 by Councilmember Bishop, withdrawing objection to the transfer of ownership of a D5 liquor permit at 4591 Turney Road and repealing Resolution 1292, 2022, objecting to said permit.
Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Polensek, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember Slife.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 16 yeas.
Call the roll on adoption.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 16 yeas.
Second reading emergency ordinances to be passed.
Ordinance 585, 2023, as amended by Councilmembers Casey, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Directors of Finance and Economic Development to enter into one or more agreements with Digital C for the deployment of a citywide broadband network and to provide related equipment and services to Cleveland residents, authorizing other agreements and authorizing the appropriate director to apply for and accept any gifts, grants, or services from any public or private entity. Ordinance 690, 2023, as amended by Councilmembers Casey, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Economic Development to enter into a tax increment financing agreement with Hawthorne Elementary Partners or its designee to assist with the financing of the Hawthorne Elementary School project to be located at 3575 West 130th Street, to provide for payments to Cleveland Metropolitan School District, and to declare certain improvements to real property to be a public purpose. Ordinance 706, 2023, by Councilmembers Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Utilities to execute a deed of sidewalk easement and a deed of temporary construction easement, granting to the City of Brecksville certain easement rights in the property needed for its Oaks Road Sidewalk Improvement Project at the city's Blossom Hill Water Towers property, and declaring the easement rights not needed for the city's public use. Ordinance 767, 2023, by Councilmembers Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Utilities to enter into various written standard purchase and requirement contracts with Itron Incorporated for the purchase of meters and related equipment and services and labor and materials to provide modifications to existing equipment for a period of 3 years, and authorizing the Director to enter into one or more contracts with Itron Incorporated to provide hardware and software maintenance and to upgrade existing software systems for the Department of Public Utilities for a period of 1 year, with 2 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Public Utilities. Ordinance 787, 2023, by Councilmembers McCormack, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Economic Development to enter into a development agreement with Cleveland LD LLC or its designee, successors, and assignees to plan and execute a development and finance strategy to maximize public and private use along Cleveland's riverfront, including Tower City, property between Huron Road and the riverfront, and any property between Ontario Road and the riverfront. Ordinance 875, 2023, by Council Members McCormack and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control to enter into an amendment to the lease by way of concession with BAA USA, DBA Fraport Cleveland, Inc., for the lease, management, design, and construction of retail merchandise, food, beverage, and other service concessions for the Department of Port Control facilities to extend the termination date and the agreement for a period of 1 year. Ordinance 877, 2023, by Council Members McCormack and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control to enter into a lease agreement with Swissport USA for the lease of space located in the passenger terminal building at Cleveland Hopkins International Airport to support its ground handling and other airline support service operations for multiple airlines for a period of 2 years with 3 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Port Control. Ordinance 879, 2023, by Council Members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts of concrete pipe adapters, repair saddles, and accessories for the Division of Water, Department of Public Utilities for a term of up to 2 years. Ordinance 880, 2023, by Council Members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts of disposal of debris at landfills, transfer stations, or recycle reclaim facility sites for the Division of Water, Cleveland Public Power, and Water Pollution Control, Department of Public Utilities for a term of 2 years. Ordinance 881, 2023, by Council Members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts of various types of electrical test equipment and labor and materials necessary to maintain and repair electrical test equipment, including training when necessary, and maintenance for the Division of Cleveland Public Power, Department of Public Utilities for a period of 2 years. Ordinance 882, 2023, by Council Members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Utilities to enter into one or more requirement contracts without competitive bidding with ST Engineering Telematics Wireless Ltd. for proprietary adaptive control photocells needed for LED streetlights and security lighting fixtures for the Division of Cleveland Public Power, Department of Public Utilities for a term of 2 years. Ordinance 884, 2023, by Council Members McCormack and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control to employ one or more professional consultants to provide on-call planning services for a period of 1 year with 3 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Port Control. Ordinance 885, 2023, as amended, by Council Members McCormack and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control to employ one or more professional consultants to provide real estate services for a period of 1 year with 3 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Port Control. Ordinance 886, 2023, by Council Members McCormack and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts of floor and wall coverings and labor and materials needed to repair or replace floor and wall coverings for the Department of Port Control for a period of 2 years with 2 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Port Control.
Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Polensek, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember Slife.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 16 yeas.
Call the roll on passage.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 16 yeas.
Second reading, emergency resolutions to be adopted.
Resolution 1020, 2023, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, requesting the county fiscal officer to make advances during the year 2024 pursuant to Section 321.34 of the Ohio Revised Code. Resolution 1021, 2023, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Cuyahoga County Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county fiscal officer.
Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Polensek, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember Slife.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 16 yeas.
Call the roll on adoption.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 16 yeas.
Thank you. Are there any introductions? You know what? I'm going to take this opportunity on behalf of council to introduce, if we could, the new Stephanie House Jones, if we could. Stephanie House Robert Jones. For those of you who don't know, Stephanie and her longtime love partner, Robert, also got married. Got married a couple of weeks ago, and it was just a beautiful day, and she was a beautiful bride, and we're really happy for you and Robert, and just congratulations on matrimony. Thank you so much. All right, any announcements? Announcements? Or miscellaneous, or which one? Introduction? Go ahead.
She works for Digital C now, but before she came there, she actually worked at Baldwin Wallace and helped a lot of different youth in the inner city of Cleveland graduate from Baldwin Wallace College. So I would definitely want to introduce her and welcome her to the Cleveland City Council. This is her first time down here, and she does a lot of work for the community. Ms. Norris. Yeah, without Ms. Norris, I would have never, ever finished school.
Stand up so we can see
her work
what
is
she
really
does.
tremendous. Thank you, Ms. Norris. Thank you.
No, we're still in introductions. Councilman Polensek or Councilman Conwell, did you have an introduction?
Yeah, we got everybody good friends. Jerry Prim, stand up. Jerry Prim.
Prim.
Dr. Jerry Prim.
All right, do we have any announcements? I will announce, Chris Harsh, you want to announce that, no, okay. It's going to be a debate tomorrow?
Sure. Everybody in the room is already aware. We're having a policy debate, although the moderator says it's not. It's just a public forum debate. But we're going to talk about participatory budgeting in detail, at length, or at least at 1 hour length, very precisely 1 hour length. Tomorrow night at 6 o'clock at Public Auditorium. It's free. Walk on in, have a seat for an hour, listen to proponents and opponents, go back and forth, discuss this very important issue, and yeah, it'll be across the street tomorrow at 6.
Yeah. All right, thank you. Do we have any other announcements? Okay, we'll go to miscellaneous, and I know I have Councilman Kerry McCormick, but I want to make sure that I reiterate, we have specific rules for public comment, and public comment is no place for hate. Public comment is no place for attacks. Public comment is no place to attack anyone on the basis of race, gender, sexual orientation, or gender grounds. We are one Cleveland, and everyone is entitled to their opinion. But we have to have decorum when anybody comes into this body. So the only thing that we are doing is we embrace diversity, and moving forward, we will take more steps to prevent any kind of outburst like we've seen today. This is the body of council. We have specific rules for public comment that guide public comment. And once again, we will not allow any character or any person of the body nor of the administration to be impugned, and we definitely will not allow any kind of comments about race, gender, or sexual orientation or any of those other grounds. So I wanted to make sure that I reiterate that. We are going to make sure that all of the public commenters understand that going in, so that we can have clear lines and guidelines for how we expect public comment to be conducted. Councilman Kerry McCormick.
Mr. President, I was originally going to stand up tonight to talk about the West Side Market, and everyone got a booklet in your inbox to take a look at about the plan that was put forth to modernize the market, which is just being introduced tonight, so folks will have plenty of time to chew on that over the next couple weeks. But I want to thank Jessica Trevisano. I don't know, she is with us tonight. Okay, so Jessica Trevisano, who's not only a Ward 3 resident, but has worked very hard on making sure the West Side Market gets what it needs. So, Mr. President, if I could ask for a round of applause for Ms. Trevisano, who's with us tonight. And I know she's going to make herself available over the next couple of weeks or week or so to answer a lot of these questions that folks may have. But Mr. President, I also, not once on this floor have responded to public comment. I don't believe that it is a participatory action. It is something for council members to hear from the community. Mr. President, I was one of the original supporters, actually with Councilman Jones, Bashir Jones, back in the day, of public comment, and I stand by that. However, the intent of public comment, Mr. President, is not to spread hate. It is not to throw out wild accusations. It is not to do what we heard tonight. And Mr. President, tonight's was unhinged. Wild accusations, homophobia, anti-Semitism. Not to say, too, on Yom Kippur, one of the high, holy Jewish days is today. Mr. President, I believe that any time, in any fashion, whether it be homophobia, racism, anti-Semitism, you go down the list, we are called to call it out and condemn it in the highest terms possible. So let's be clear. Mr. President, this council, this city, this mayor, former mayors have worked really, really hard to ensure that every Clevelander, regardless of who they pray to, regardless of the color of their skin, regardless of who they love, are protected by law and welcomed in this city. And that is how we will move forward as a city. Do we have work to do? Of course. We have ongoing work to do, but there is no room in this hall that we've all been elected to for any of that type of disparaging comment, that type of religious-based hate, that type of homophobia in the city of Cleveland. It tears us apart. It does not bring us together. It weakens us. It does not strengthen us. So, Mr. President, I want to thank you for swiftly addressing those issues here tonight. I hope moving forward that as folks address this body, even in agreement or disagreement or whatever it might be, that we respect each other and do not tear each other down, Mr. President. We are a stronger city, as you mentioned, as one Cleveland, and that's the only way we're going to move forward. So I condemn the remarks tonight to the highest degree possible and want to make sure that whether you are a part of the LGBTQ plus community, whether you're a part of the Jewish faith, whoever you are welcome in this city.
Thank you. Well said. We have Councilwoman Rebecca Moore.
Thank you. As I'm going to follow Councilman McCormack, I thank you for your words, because as you said, tonight at sundown marks the end of Yom Kippur, the holiest day on the Jewish calendar. And I'd planned to speak a little bit about it tonight, because instead of observing it in the ways that I normally would, I was here at council trying to do my job the best I could. So I had written up some remarks thinking a little bit about the ways that atonement, which is the calling for today, it is the central idea is to reflect on your prior year and the things that you could do differently, the things that you could do better. It is an incredible idea for a faith to have its holiest day be based in the idea of what I could do better. And I had intended to share a little bit about the ways that atonement has shifted for me in this year since joining council. But of course, we had the public comments tonight, and as a queer Jewish woman, I have many ways that I could respond to that. I think Councilman McCormack's is exactly one of them, that type of fierce condemnation. But I want to also say in the clearest terms that I can, that you did not succeed in what you tried to do. You did not succeed in making me feel less than. You did not succeed in making me feel like I don't deserve to be here and make sure that I can live my life and love who I want to in the clearest and best way that I can. And in fact, it is perhaps the highest calling of this day to continue to live grounded in the beliefs that I operate under, in the type of grace and humanity and love that Yom Kippur calls us to. And so in a way, I thank you for calling us to this moment and for a clarity around it and for a space in which to share these values. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And as a body, we all regret to see that you had to experience any of that. And once again, this body does not believe in that. So thank you so much. Councilman Kevin Conwell.
You know, Mr. President, you did a great job by ending it right away. I know that if anyone ever do that again, they should be banned. I mean, you just got to cut them off. You got to ban them. You can't let them speak ever again. It has to be consequences when people do that and say things like that, man. You know, I mean, it hurts me. I try to fight for it. And Martin Luther King talked about that also. When you see things like that happen, you got to speak up and you got to fight it because it's coming to you next. So I say that we ban this person from ever speaking again on City Council. Thank you very much.
All right, I don't see any other miscellaneous. Therefore, Madam Clerk, please excuse the absences.
By Councilmember Polensek, that the absence of Councilmember Bishop is hereby excused, seconded by Councilmember Slight.
All right, thank you. This council is adjourned to the next regular meeting on October 2nd, 2023. Thank you.